But first, it isn't often that a news headline has the ability to stop you in your tracks, drop your jaw, leave you speechless. And I mean legitimate headlines, not guy makes big money off YouTube headlines like CNN.com will happily put on a t-shirt for you. Today, we got one of these for real, jaw-dropping headlines. U.S. Vice President admits to war crime. Can you say bombshell? In his latest legacy-polishing exit interview, Vice President Dick Cheney acknowledged for the first time, without trepidation or apparent fear of prosecution, that he authorized torture techniques to be used against prisoners. He was asked and answered specifically about waterboarding. Waterboarding, you may recall from the Tokyo trials after World War II, when an international coalition, including us, convened to prosecute Japanese officials and military personnel accused of war crimes, including waterboarding. A number of those found guilty of waterboarding, American troops and allied troops and civilians, people found guilty of waterboarding, those folks were sentenced to death and hanged. We hanged people for waterboarding as a war crime in Dick Cheney's lifetime. With that as the historical context, the vice president cavalierly told ABC News that he specifically approved that same technique being used against the prisoner named Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Did you authorize the tactics that were used against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed?
I was aware of the program, certainly, and involved in helping get the process cleared. That is, the agency, in effect, came in and wanted to know what they could and couldn't do. And they talked to me as well as others to explain what they wanted to do, and I supported it.
And on KSM, one of those tactics, of course, widely reported was waterboarding, and that seems to be a tactic we no longer use. Even that, you think, was appropriate?
I do.
Well, knock me over with a feather duster. It appears that the sitting Vice President of the United States just admitted to approving a practice that was once punishable by death by our country. The I approved waterboarding and I'd do it again admission came during another one of these victory lap interviews from President Bush and Vice President Cheney in their remaining 30-plus days on the job. Later in the same interview, Cheney said of his so-called enhanced interrogation technique program, he said this, quote, "It's been a remarkably successful effort. I think the results speak for themselves."
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.